Доброго дня. I wanted to take a couple of minutes today to answer some of the terrific questions that we've gotten via the Embassy's Facebook and Twitter. Thanks especially to Katya, Makita, and Daniil in Avdiivka, Donetsk for your great video questions.
Hello, Mr. Pyatt. My name is Nikita.
My name is Katya. My name is Daniil.
We have some questions to you.
What is the difference between Ukraine and American schools?
How is American Constitution different from Ukrainian Constitution?
What is the difference between America and Ukraine?
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Katya asks, what's the difference between Ukrainian and American schools? Well, there's a lot that schools in the two countries have in common. In Ukraine, people go to school through 11th grade. In the United States, it's typically 12th grade, and after that, you make a decision whether or not you'll continue on to university. In Ukraine, schools always begin on September 1st, and I discovered this year that that's even the case when September 1st comes on a Sunday. In the United States, the first day of school is sometime between August and September, but the dates are determined by the individual municipalities and school districts, not by the central government. In both countries, we usually have 4 seasonal breaks, a long one in the summer, and then shorter breaks in the autumn and winter and spring. In Ukraine, you get a good grade if you have a 12 and a very bad grade if you have a 1. In the United States, we use letters. So the best that you can get is an A, and the worst that you can get is an F. You certainly don't want to bring an F grade back home to your parents. Just like in Ukraine, I don't think you'd want to have a 1 grade to show your parents. Daniil asks, what's the difference between the United States and Ukraine? I also received questions from youth at American clubs around Ukraine, including Alona Slobodanuk at the club in Donetsk, who asked a similar question. What do American young people know about Ukraine? Well, to start with on the differences, the United States is a big multicultural country. We have about 300 million people. We're the 4th largest country in the world with tremendous geographic diversity. So we have high mountains and frozen steppe in Alaska. We have palm trees and year-round warm water in Hawaii or Florida. And we have high mountains and plains, a lot of which looks a lot like Ukraine. So for instance, when I was in Crimea, as I was driving along the coast and driving through the vineyards, I could easily have been in my own home state of California. It looks almost exactly the same. But there are also parts of Ukraine that are very different. Americans know that Ukraine has a long, proud history, and we all know Ukraine as the breadbasket of Europe. In this context, the United States is deeply committed to supporting the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Ukraine. And we want to be your close partners as you move ahead with the Ukrainian people's goal of closer institutional relations with Europe in a way that will drive economic growth and help to build Ukrainian democracy over the long term. Now we come to Makita, who asked the hardest question of all. How is the U.S. Constitution different from the Ukrainian Constitution? All 3 of you guys have terrific English language skills and asked really sophisticated questions. But this one is almost something you would get in law school. In any case, let me give it a shot. First of all, I would emphasize that there's a lot more that we have in common between our democratic structures than separates us. In both countries, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and all laws have to conform to those constitutional rules. In Ukraine, you used the Constitution of the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic until 1995, and the Verkhovna Rada adopted your current Constitution on June 28, 1996, a very important day in the history of the country. In the United States, we declared our independence from Britain in 1776, and the Articles of Confederation, adopted in 1777, provided the initial structure for relations between and among the 13 states. The Constitution of the United States was adopted in 1787 to create a stronger central government and to establish the system of separate but equal powers that has governed the rule of law in our country for the subsequent 226 years. During that time, our Constitution has been amended only 27 times, reminding us how wise our founders were when they established this structure for governance in the United States.